council. So all the previously adopted iterations of the PUD included a pool, a clubhouse, a nature park, and playground equipment. The applicant is seeking to amend it, the amenities provided to be a pavilion, pickleball court, nature park, and playground equipment. So essentially, what's being requested is that the pool and clubhouse that were proposed with the original development and with subsequent updates to the PUD be replaced by a pavilion and pickleball court. All of these amenities for this development would ultimately be maintained by the HOA. None of these are intended to be dedicated to the city for ownership or maintenance. We did comply with state and local notification requirements. We have received several phone calls regarding this application. I think we had one phone call that expressed support and some callers that expressed opposition. Similarly, at the public hearing before the Planning Commission, there was one speaker in favor of the application and one opposed. The Planning Commission did unanimously recommend denial of this application.
All right.
Recommended
Wait,
denial?
wait.
What I just passed out was, you said something about Rick not being here.
Yes,
This is what he sent to me to ask to pass out.
okay. Sarah, hang on one second. I just want to clarify. Matt, when this development was originally planned, the PUD said the developer was going to put in a pool. Over time, development has occurred, and now the developer wants to change it from a pool to pickleball court and a pavilion. And thus, there needs to be a change in the PUD. Am I correct?
That is correct, yes.
So the request for the change was unanimously denied by the Planning Commission. That's their recommendation, correct?
Correct.
All right. And at the Planning Commission, you had a person that spoke in favor and a person that spoke against.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Before we open it up to the public, Sarah, you were going to ask some questions? Okay. Any other discussion of the council members? All right. Is there a representative from the neighborhood association? I want to talk to you first before I'll get to everybody. And before you speak,
Yes, sir.
and you're going to, when you do speak, you're going to have to give your name and your address into the record. I have been informed, and I do not know if this is correct, and so I'm right now trying to get clarification, that there was a straw poll of all the residents in the association, and it's my understanding that it was something like 95 in favor of the amendment, meaning no pool, and 13 against, meaning they still wanted the pool. Is the information I've been provided accurate?
Yes, it is.
Okay. If you would state your name, if you would give your address, and then go ahead and say what you want to say, and then I'm going to ask if there is a person on the opposition. I understand you're the applicant, and if there's anybody here in opposition to this change, then I'm going to ask them to come up and speak. But what I don't want is I don't want 50 people all to come up and say the exact same thing. So you go ahead and tell us what you know and what you want to tell us.
Sure. My name is Jacob Graves, 13215 Sawtooth Oak Road. Yeah, I'm on the board for Timber Ridge, and it like you mentioned, it's been talked about since the beginning of the development of the neighborhood about a pool being a part of the development there. So over time, obviously with the rising cost of things, the plans changed with that. So at the beginning of the year, Ideal had sent us the plans for the pool. We thought it would behoove the board to figure out how much is going to cost us every year. So we requested a budget. How much is this going to cost? So they came back with $52,000 a year estimated to be able to run this thing. So with the current dues and budget that we operate with, we would have to raise our dues by 20% every year for the next 4 to 5 years to be able to afford that. So we got a lot of feedback on the board. Some people did say, hey, we've been promised a pool since the beginning of this thing, and a lot of people saying, I don't want my dues to be raised. A lot of people saying, I cannot have my dues be raised. So we went back to Ideal. We said, is there another option? Can we do something that is a public amenity that would be less to maintain? So we collectively came up with the idea for a public area, the park and pavilion pickleball court. So we presented it to the neighborhood with a vote or a poll, and sent them all the information on it, how much it was going to cost annually to operate both of them. It was going to be $52,000 to operate the pool, and it would be $5,500, I believe, to operate the park, to be able to maintain that. So we got those votes back. We sent out that information on April 9th. We got the votes back on the 15th, and they were counted. Those are sent out by email, and that we reached out to Ideal, let them know of the opinion of the association and the majority of the members in the association, and they said that they would take care of the rest of it. So they seem like they're doing a great job with that. So that's where we're at that.
I have
we're
a-
at with that. Go ahead.
I have a question. You live in the neighborhood.
Yes.
The original development was in 2005, so there's some people who've lived there, I guess, since the early 2000s, mid-2000s anyway. So it would be fair to say that those people, when they bought their house, expected to have a swimming pool?
It would be
In
fair
the
to say that.
community?
Yeah, there's been multiple developers since then. Ideal took over the neighborhood somewhere around 2020, 2021, after other developers decided to sell the land or do whatever they decided to do to get out of it. And Ideal came in with open mind about it, because they were approached and said, hey, you know, the association approached Ideal and said, hey, we've been promised a pool since 2005. We've had 4 different developers that haven't built us a pool. They said, sounds good. Let us get to the point where we're developing this new Section 5 where we can get it platted, and we'll be happy to do that for you. So throughout this whole process, they've been very transparent, saying, if you want a pool, we'll build you a pool. We, you know, gave you the budget on both of them, so it's a decision up to you guys.
So, so what we've got is 13 people who want to have a pool, everybody else doesn't want to have a pool, doesn't want to pay for a pool, and we're going to decide which side gets what they want.
Exactly.
Yeah,
All right,
from my understanding.
thank you.
All right, thank you. For the record, I've handed a handout that was given to us to Sarah to put into the city's record.
And it's my understanding, this handout is from Ward 6, who is a resident of, and just so everyone knows, this is Timber Ridge addition. I do have a couple questions, if I may ask. What is your position? Do you hold an office with the HOA?
I'm just on the board.
You're just on the board, okay. Because the document that was been handed out said there were 46 yes votes,
Correct.
or votes to change to a pickleball and pavilion, and 13 opposed. And I know there was some talk of 95. Is it 46 or 95?
I can clarify that for you. So,
Okay.
I have all these documents, if you'd like me to give them to you guys. So I printed out the specific portion of our covenants that state how we're supposed to vote and what all is associated with that. So there's 2 different classes of voters, Class A and Class B. Class A would be the people who live in the neighborhood, and Class B would be the developer who owns those lots. So their original vote, we sent out the vote to 201 separate emails, and we had the 43 in favor of the park and 13 in favor of the pool, so for a total of 57 votes, because there was one I don't care vote, I guess. And then the remainder of that total would be from the developer.
Oh, okay.
So, one other question.
Yeah.
So,
But they did vote on that on our
Yes.
behalf, based off what the majority was.
so how many total, so there's one Class B who's the developer.
Correct.
How many Class A eligible voters are there?
201.
201?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So you had roughly 25% vote, and of that, 80% voted in favor of pickleball and 20% voted in favor of the pool.
Correct.
Okay, all right.
Thank you, that's all I have.
Can I,
Dawn-
go ahead, Mayor.
Sorry, Dawn, I have a question. If No matter, is there anything that the city can do by way of this vote, yes or no, that imposes any liability on us from somebody not getting what they had been promised or anything like that?
No, under the Oklahoma Tort Claims Act, when we're doing, and I'm gonna use doing our ministerial duties, approving
Right.
items like a change in a PUD and things like that, there is a specific exception
Right.
under the Tort Claims Act for any liability under that. So the answer is no.
Okay. Sarah?
Don, interrupt me if I'm not allowed to ask this question. But
Are you asking me or?
I'm asking the public. I'm curious to know how many people, by raise of hand, how many of you are present tonight that did not participate in the official vote? So everyone here tonight is represented in the vote statistics and numbers that was shared.
Well,
Thank
then
you.
while we're doing that, raise your hand if you are in favor of pickleball. And raise your hand if you're in favor of the pool. Tia, would you like to speak?
Mayor and council, the only issue that I have with this is I wish they would have settled it amongst themselves.
Yes.
Because what they're asking us to do is basically, if the dues are gonna go up if they put in a pool, that means that we're basically voting to cause a financial,
Was a poll not trying to
Increase.
settle it for
Our-
ourselves? Didn't we conduct a poll, though? Would that not be the,
well, I know, but what you're asking us to do is if we deny this and the pool comes into play, then we're basically saying that we're not listening to the majority and we're putting a burden on the people, we're putting a bigger burden on the people that don't want this. And that's the only issue I have. I just wish that they had
Right.
settled it themselves, because, you
And-
know, we don't tax people. When we put out a vote, majority wins.
Yeah.
Whether we like it or not, we have to live with it. And that's the only issue I have through this.
And Tia, I'm not asking you to say something, but you as a citizen are free to say something.
can I make one more comment?
Yes.
So just to address that, there's not a way for us to settle it ourselves, because the plat and PUD has already been
The
established.
developer
before.
has to follow the PUD.
Yeah, so it's,
I mean,
it would
he
have
could-
to be, changed by you guys.
Well,
to be-
let me ask a question, Don. If we don't amend the PUD and he just doesn't put a pool in, is there a recourse?
Yeah, yes.
Okay.
We have the ability to have recourse in that situation.
Then,
Us, the city, because it did not comply with the terms of the and one of the things is, we're not at final plat yet, are we?
Yeah, they have a, sorry. That's all right, I'll just talk louder. They have additional lots that they would like to plat so that they can build and sell
and they wouldn't be
additional
able to
items.
do that if,
And-
I get it.
If they're not going to comply with the PUD, we would not allow
Yeah.
those to come before you for approval.
Okay. Tia? You know the drill.
I do. Tia Cromar, 13209 Sawtooth Oak Road. Did Rick Favors give you this by chance, the copy of the letter that was sent out to us?
It looks like that's what was just handed out.
Oh, okay.
Oh, we got something that was slightly different. It looks like this. Do we have more handouts? For the record, I want this also, whatever T is handing out, to also be made part of the public record. Yes. He skipped me. You're gonna get mine. You'll get mine.
Okay, sorry. Tia Cromar, 13209 Sawtooth Oak Road. No, and I just want to reiterate, my HOA board is fantastic. My neighbors are great. I apologize for any of our dirty laundry that we're putting out here. So
We're
I
gonna
just-
hold you responsible.
That's fine. No, I just want to kind of put out there where this is the letter that was emailed to us, And so just for me in reading it, I just feel that if you go through it, I think it persuades a certain direction in here as you read it. I don't think it really mentions, it doesn't do a good job of mentioning that option A is supposed to have a pool and a clubhouse and a playground and the nature trails. To me, it just seems very unclear, and it's kind of disingenuous that that's not listed in here. So I'm going off of the premise of, I believe that the people that voted for it were led a certain direction to say, this is what it is. This letter is very unclear to me, it's very unclear to other people of where it makes it look like, well, is the HOA responsible for paying for all this? What's going on when it is the builder that's responsible for it? So that's all that I want to really bring attention to, where it's, yes, when I moved in 2021, I was promised a pool. That was one of the big factors, like, I would like to move here, I would like to live here. It is interesting to me, it was like, okay, well, there's other things we have to work out where I paid my dues in January of $480 to the HOA. I came from a place before where my HOA fees were $180 before. But, again, that's not your guys' problem, that's our problem. And I did have a clubhouse and a workout gym in the clubhouse and a pool with it, and it did snow removal and did all the other that. So again, that's our own stuff to work out for our own HOA. So that's the only thing I want to get up here and just reiterate of where that's what I believe. I don't think the information that was given to people is clear. I find it very disingenuous. And I don't want to go against the wishes of my neighborhood. I just feel that it's just very misleading to me. So,
May I ask a question?
please, Mark.
You have a pretty good way with numbers. If I ask you, how much extra value do you believe your house would have if your community had a pool?
Oh, I know for me, that's for me personally, it would bring a lot of value to it. Where I used to live, it was, not to sound all sappy here, but like I taught all my kids to swim in the pool. It was just a really cool thing. It was great summers for us, and so for me, I get that. But again, I'm not trying to put on an extra thing on my neighbors of trying to jack up their HOA fees. I'm just saying that the premise of what we were given, I just find disingenuous.
There's at least one case in your neighborhood of an individual who went ahead and put their own pool in. I don't know how many others there are in your neighborhood, but in that case, it seems a little unfair that because the developer, dilly-dallied around, they got tired of it and put their own pool in. They accepted that big cost. If this other pool gets put in, they're gonna have to pay twice for a pool.
Right,
For a
I
pool
can
they
totally
won't
see it from
use.
their perspective. I don't want to pretend I know how they feel. Whoever has been there since 2005 and so on, I'm like, wow, I'm really sorry for you. This is just my story of what I was sold in 2021, so.
One thing I'll say, Councilman Thompson, is I have spoken with the legal counsel for the developer, and they reiterated to me that the reason they brought this before the community development and brought it before the planning commission and the city council was at the request of the HOA. So it's not the developer per se, at least from what their counsel told me, that this is not the developer's idea. They are just they're the applicant, so they're just trying to move forward at the request of the HOA.
But just, my point is, it's been 21 years since the developer first claimed that they were gonna put in a pool. Now, I understand there's been multiple changes and all that, but from a homeowner's point of view, they've been waiting 21 years for a pool.
Right.
Some of them. And,
That's definitely who I sympathize with personally.
okay, and you've been waiting 6 years for a pool
Right.
or something like that.
And I don't want to come like, again, I apologize for our own HOA. I agree with you. Maybe we should work this all out. I am sorry I didn't have a chance to reach out to my HOA board to try and talk about this. And I apologize that this is the only way that I felt like, hold on, I feel like I need to bring this to the attention of somebody. This is why I think people got sold on
Tia,
it. So,
please, Juan, stop apologizing. You're a tax-paying resident of this city. This directly impacts your community, the quality of life for your children and for your neighbors. And if I was a resident, I know as a resident of this city, I always appreciate your expertise, particularly with numbers. So I think you're bringing your wisdom and knowledge and using it as an asset to raise awareness in your community. So don't apologize. I'm actually really grateful and applaud you for coming up and speaking. What I understand, and again, we pass budgets around this horseshoe based on your numbers and the trust and faith that we have. Is it correct that you're saying that this letter that was presented to the individuals, the residents in that neighborhood, prior to them going to vote, is a misrepresentation of what their dues may actually look like if the pool was put in? Is that kind of like what you're getting with the numbers you're looking at?
The way that I'm personally taking it is that it seems to leave out some very crucial things of where they're already committed to the pool, the clubhouse, the playgrounds, and the nature trail. The way that it's worded, I think a rational person can say, okay, this is obviously leading me to choose option A. I understand that maybe they need to put in there of like, we should probably hire a lifeguard and that'll make our things go up $18,000. And my first reaction is like, I haven't met an HOA pool that has a lifeguard on duty ever before, but I could be wrong. I'm not saying they're out there. I've just seen more that don't.
So,
that's all I'm saying.
let me tell you my understanding of this. First off, if there's a pool, the value of the homes is higher. Some people certainly bought their homes thinking that there would be a pool. Some people are now against the idea of the pool because they're concerned about the true cost. What I am hearing, though, is it sounds like there needs to be a neighborhood association meeting, not just a poll, and discuss some of these items. And I'm wondering if maybe we shouldn't table this for a month. You guys have a meeting, go over all of this.
Yeah.
Come on up. Go over all of this, and then come back and let me know what the neighborhood thinks about this. And then if this comes back, it would come back in August, but it has to come back exactly as it is now. We can't change it. It's already gone through the Planning Commission.
I believe that's a great solution. That's the same solution that I would propose. I don't want to present problems
So,
without
but
solutions.
before
You said the
I
same thing.
ask for such a motion, let me hear from these gentlemen who really want to talk.
And before you do, just remember, I think you have the applicant out here. who may
I'm
want to
aware
speak as well.
I'm aware Ideal Homes is here, and I'm going to give you a chance to speak.
Thank you. My name is Kim Morphus. I've been a resident for 18 years there and been on the board for most of those. I believe a couple of years after I was there, I was started on the board. And the subject of the pool has been discussed forever. And the discussion was always around when does it make sense to build a pool? And my understanding now is you have to get to the phase we're currently in before it even is a discussion item. So we finally got to that point. Secondly, it's always been about when that time comes, will we be able to afford it? So it finally came this year. It was presented to us that here's the pool option, the clubhouse. I think we gave up on that a long time ago because there were a lot of things in the original PUD document, I guess, but some people, I don't know what people thought about, they assumed when they bought their house. But we finally presented those costs, and we looked at the two alternatives and we've had quarterly meetings at Charles Johnson Center for as long as I've been involved, and this has been an occasional discussion in those meetings. And it's always, the discussion has always been the same. When will it make sense, and when it makes sense, will we be able to afford it? So now we got there, and there's never been any big support for a pool. It's always been about when we get there, we'll estimate the cost, we'll present those to the neighborhood, and we'll get the neighborhood's opinion. And participation has always been low in the HOA meetings, so we took care of it the best we could earlier this year and did the poll, and we got the response that we typically get on anything. Our meetings, we have very little turnout at their meetings, but it seems to me like we had traditionally, given our behavior in the neighborhood, we got a pretty good response, and we had an overwhelmingly leaning one way, which was, I don't want my dues to go up. I don't really want the pool. And in particular, you know, I thought we presented it fairly clearly when we presented this, that if these costs are real and we go ahead and incur these costs, we're going to have to start increasing dues for 2 or 3 or 4 years, because we don't know what other expenses are going to go up as well. Landscaping is going to be added to this as well. We currently haven't included the landscaping for these new areas, so it just.
I understand.
Yeah.
I understand. Okay. What it sounds like you're saying is you want us to vote tonight, you don't want us to table it to.
Well, we could table it, and we could have another meeting, but I think we'll have the same response we always have. But because we've had this discussion, and we could go back and say, and I'd like to have some clear direction, I guess. I couldn't always hear everything that was being said by the gentleman, but we could present those options again and come back next month and talk about it again. But I don't know if the community response is going to be different.
Right, okay, all right.
Sir,
Mayor, can I ask, I'm sorry, go ahead, Mark.
Are you saying that when you moved in 18 years ago,
Yes.
you were not promised that there would be a swimming
Well,
pool in your neighborhood?
I think these people that talk about promises, they're probably made by realtors or builders, not by developers.
But that's who you bought your home from, a realtor or
Yeah,
a
yeah, I
builder.
bought my home. Back when I bought my home, I saw it on the plans, but I knew it was way down the road because the housing had to be built into that area, and I didn't worry about it at the time. And I've never been one that's been looking forward to a pool. I'm not a pool guy.
All right.
Are you an official position holder with the HOA or just?
Yes,
Okay.
yeah, I'm
Can
the
I-
secretary,
what-
I believe.
Okay, you're the secretary of the HOA. And is there a flat fee for the HOA fees for every resident within that neighborhood, or do the HOA fees vary?
They vary based on, because a small portion of the community is gated. So those dues are higher because of the expense associated with that small gated area. There's 14 homes there, and I happen to be in one of them. Other parts of the development used to be based on the sizes of the houses, and there were 2 different tiers. But through the years, at some point, several years ago, those other non-gated residents all pay the same fees, which are lower than
Yeah.
what I pay behind the gate.
Thank you for that. And really, Mayor, I really love the idea of allowing the community, because I think what concerns me is once I learned that there was approximately 200 people that should have had a say in these results, possibly 200 households. And I don't think there's been a effort to engage as many residents as should be, just so we can get a better, accurate determination of what the mass majority of the residents want there. I appreciate the efforts that have been taken to include some of the feedback. But, for example, I think having input from Tia and other residents who may have not been actively present at some of those meetings, and then getting different numbers that is more inclusive of more
Yeah,
households would
we
be
have
great.
solicited email addresses, and we do things online, and we've tried any number of ways to try to get more participation. So I don't actually know how many email addresses we had that we
Yeah.
sent out for the vote, but
And-
it was an email vote.
And for me individually, I have spoken to at least one individual that I have full faith and trust, who's a resident within that community. And he stands kind of where you stand, that we don't necessarily need the pool for the higher HOA fees. But I've also heard from residents who bought their homes, having the faith and belief that at some point they're gonna get a pool, and that's gonna add to the quality of life their families were gonna have. And so I have a hard time making this decision. I mean, personally, I do. And so, I think if we could get more feedback that is more inclusive of a larger number of residents there, that may help me. I don't know how the rest of the council feels.
My issue was the fact that if we said no, we were going against the majority, because the majority of people don't want the pool and don't want their HOA increased, and I get that. And that was my only deal. do we really want to go against, it's like, I had the numbers, I figured out it's like almost 76% of the people that voted to let this go through, so, I don't know if we tell.
I'd just like to add onto what you guys have said. I appreciate everyone involved, so thank you for being here. I kind of second the idea of just re-engaging the community, and I'd like to see just kind of one last attempt to see if that percentage can go up. I'd also, in support of Tia and anyone else who's interested in seeing more clarification tied to the approximate value of the items that were omitted in that first email tied to the request of voting. Regardless of the monetary value, I think if there was anything omitted, I think that would be fair to everyone involved. And that's all I have to say.
You know, maybe if it gets put off, you guys can actually put a letter in everybody's mailbox.
So,
And
I
say,
mean, can I speak on it
Yeah,
just for a second?
yeah,
So,
yeah.
this has been a topic of conversation for 15 years. There's nobody in the neighborhood that doesn't know about the pool, the associated costs. So just, for reference, talking about engagement with the meetings, there's 11 people at our last meeting. Public signs are posted, we post on the Facebook, they're sent emails. Everybody's contacted and notified about the meetings coming up, and we had 11 people out of the 200 and whatever members we have, or addresses. So I just wanted to talk briefly, just because the opposition, whatever you want to call it, said something about the budget. The majority of the budget was insurance associated with that. That was $34,000 of that $52,000, and they recommended the lifeguard be hired for $18,000 was their estimated cost. So that was where the majority of the budget came from. So,
And there's one other group of people that we need to think about, the people that want the pool but can't afford the cost. And that's the issue that I have, that we're gonna put money on somebody that may not be able to afford it. And that's the issue I've got when we say, no, we're gonna pick the pool side. That's why I'm hoping maybe you guys can
well,
come back.
like I said, respectfully, we've talked about this for 5 years. Why kick to the can down the road,
Well,
and-
you've kicked
no,
it
no,
down
no,
there
no.
for how many years? 18 years?
yeah,
We're asking you for a month?
Sure, but the position now is we finally have a developer that's ready to step up and invest the money and
I-
give us
I
the
got
public
that.
amenity. So now comes the time to make a decision.
let me, if you guys would go ahead and have a seat, let me have the developer come on up as the applicant.
Any need for any more detail?
No,
Anyone? Thank you.
no. Yeah, I'm good. Technically, I haven't even opened it up for public discussion, so I will, but I don't, again, I want to admonish everybody, I don't want people repeating the same argument over and over. But the applicant is here. Please state your name and your address. And
Yes, sir. My name's Todd McInnes, 1503 East 19th Street, Edmond. I represent Ideal Homes, who came into ownership of this property in late 2021. And as Jacob said, they were moving forward with platting this phase. They were contacted by the HOA leadership and said, we have some serious concerns about the financial ability of our residents to maintain their current due structure, much less add the additional expense. And they asked Ideal Homes, hey, you own a bunch of neighborhoods, can you help us come up with what those numbers are gonna look like if we move forward with the pool? And Ideal said that day, and they say today on my behalf, we're happy to go either way. They cost us about the same to put in. And so we came back with our numbers and shared them with the HOA as to what the operating expenses are of the pools based on our extensive experience of neighborhoods all over the metro area. The HOA came back and said, we want you to move forward with the pickleball process. Okay, we're gonna do that. And then they said, wait a second, we're not comfortable just saying that unilaterally, let's go to a vote of our residents. And so in April, they sent out the letter that Tia mentioned, who coincidentally voted in the poll. And they got the results back 7 days later that had the 43 to 17 number or whatever it was. And so we're just trying to move forward with our plat. We can't get our plat done in order to even do any of this until we get this done. And so we have a really desired deadline to get our plat done in September, We had that desire for September of 2025, and we've been waiting for this to be resolved as we've tried to collaborate with the residents to do what they want us collectively to do in this process. So if you think waiting a month is going to make it better, you guys are the leadership, and we have all the respect in the world for you. I feel like if you're asking me, and I guess you asked me a question, what happens if we come back next week, next month, and it's 43 to 42? I mean, we need you to make a decision at some point on our PUD so we can move forward and build the lots that we have invested in for the last 5 years to get them to the market. That's our heart with respect to that. Jacob and his leadership, we had a Zoom call the other day. Presumably, Tia and the other 17 neighbors that voted no know how to get in touch with those folks. It's been April to May, May to June, June to July. It's been 3 months. And there's a comment earlier about, well, I guess I'll have to get in touch with them now. I don't know why that, I mean, it's not for me, or maybe not even for y'all to try to figure out. But I can just tell you on behalf of Ideal Homes, we have a desire to move forward and finish this neighborhood. And we have a desire to do it in a way that the residents want without placing a financial burden on the residents who do not want a pool in their neighborhood. The cost to us is about the same for all these amenities. It's around $400,000.
You know, the losing party is the most motivated.
Hard to get people to come and support us stuff, I understand. You got a lot
When
of
the
no
planning
people, so-
commission unanimously votes to deny the amendment, why would there be a need for those 17 people to knock on doors?
Well, I think the easy answer to that is there was a lot of inaccurate information shared at Planning Commission.
Well, okay.
And so at that time, if
so
I
let me
could-
tell you what I've been told. I've been told that there's inaccurate information being given to the residents and inaccurate information being given to the planning commission.
Well, we can deal with the Planning Commission because that's on the record. The options that were communicated at Planning Commission were this were a unilateral decision by the developer to cram it down the neighbor's throat. We'll give you a pickleball. We don't care that you want a pool. That was false. That's demonstrably false. It's
Well,
not in the record.
That's not what I heard.
Well, that was what happened. It doesn't matter if we heard it or someone said it or I heard it at the neighborhood parking lot. We don't know if someone said this in a letter. We know what was stated at Planning Commission. So that
You are incorrect.
That's
I
what
was
I-
at that planning commission meeting. You were not.
Our
And that
engineer
was
who's here today was
incorrect.
there.
You-
Okay,
what you
listen.
just
Wait,
said
wait,
was
wait,
a false
wait.
statement.
we're on the same team.
Stop, both of you. Let me tell you something. I'm going to answer one of your questions to me. If the vote came back 43 to 42, my vote would be to deny the amendment because that isn't enough of a majority to contemplate changing this. But I also am hearing about this for the first time this last week. So me personally, I would like to take enough time so that we don't hastily make a bad decision.
Well, as I said at the beginning, we're here to do what somebody tells us to do. We filed the PUD amendment at the request of the HOA.
I get
And so-
that.
And so if I misrepresented what our engineer clearly told us was happening at that meeting, then I apologize. We want to move forward.
Okay, all right. This is a public discussion. Is there anybody else in the public that wants to say
Well,
anything?
I have a question for the
That's fine.
developer. When you bought the property 5 years, 7 years ago, you were aware that the original PUD required you to put in a pool?
Mr. McCowan is here, Richard, he may be able to speak to that, it's his family, it's Ideal Homes, I
I
represent
mean, that's a
them.
yes or no. You either knew or you didn't know you had to put in a pool.
I believe we did, yeah.
All
And
right.
Richard
Thank you.
McCown, 4409 Cannon Drive, Norman, Oklahoma. Yeah, we did know we needed to put in the pool, and we're still
Okay.
happy to put in the pool.
Any other questions? Okay, the public. Please try and say new stuff.
Thank you.
Name and address, please.
My name's John B. Lewis. I live at 13129 Australian Pine Drive. I've been living in the HOA, or Timber Ridge Point, since 2008. I was the former HOA president for 10 years, or on the board for 10 years, past president for 5 years. Sit down this year. Something that has not been mentioned, this is not about a pool. This is not about a pool. This is from a developer, Timber Ridge Point, in a snake pit. It is. A lot of money. A lot of money has been dropped into Timber Ridge Point. My wife is also the bookkeeper for HOA. She's been doing it for 10 years. There's things we know that other people do not know. We know fully how much it costs to run an HOA. I wish we had $250,000 in our reserve account. We only have $17,000, which 10 of it's going to be going to our next landscaper to get it back up to speed where it's not at, which is, that landscaper is going to cost us $61,000 a year. Reason I say I need a reserve fund is because things break. Everybody here has a home. Things go south real quickly. We had a $30,000 bill for a retention pond that I had to pay last year, and it took a year to fix. Just a retention pond, a small retention pond at that. I just left that pond and the fountain's not working. It's $3,000 to pay that. This is not about a pool. It's not about a pool. It's about, can we be financial responsibility for the money that the citizens and the neighbors give us to be responsible with? And that's what we've been trying to do for the past 10 years. My wife, when we came into the HOA and started taking over the bookkeeping, we were $30,000 behind in liens. $30,000. We were in the red. And with her patience and with her letter writing and lien putting on the homes, we got $25,000 back. So we just, it's like moving and turning a battleship. It takes time. And with this pool, again, it's not about a pool. It's not. This is about doing the right thing. Just like y'all's trying to do the right thing, it's trying to be responsible for our neighbors, that we're trying to do the right thing.
How long have you been thinking about this pool problem?
Since 2008.
Good.
The fact is there was a meeting.
You can certainly appreciate the fact that I've had minutes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I
All right.
absolutely do. Absolutely do. There was a meeting with two developers, Ideal Home and Kyle Copeland. That was the previous developer. And the pool was brought up at that meeting. And that meeting was that Kyle said that I got the votes. I don't have to put a pool in. When my wife stood up and said, no, you cannot. There's a law that states that you are responsible for it and abide by that meeting, or abide by our covenant and our bylaws. So she stood up for our HOA, right? She doesn't want a pool. We do not want a pool. The reason is because it's going to be not fiscally responsible in the long run. We are just gaining ground and just starting now to getting ourselves above water, so we can actually start cleaning up the neighborhood. Just to clean up the neighborhood, it costs a lot of money. $480 is a lot that each of our neighbors have to pay. The gated community pays $880 because we got to maintain the roads. I got upset with the city when I took over this president position, or took over with HOA. Why did I get upset in Midwest City? Because Midwest City was supposed to pay the electric bill, and HOA was paying the electric bill for 12 years. And I got upset with the city. What the city say? We're not going to pay you. I mean, there's a lot of things that I can get upset with, but that's just one of them. But with Ideal Homes wanting to put in a pickleball, I'm not upset at that at all. Yes, thank goodness, because $5,000 versus $50,000, when I look at it in my eyes, that's a lot better. But this is no way about a pool. This is being a responsible person with people's money and trying to manage, a community when, like, all of our people on the board, they have full-time jobs. Most people that do that. That's why people don't come and be on an HOA. I mean, there's a lot of stigma to that. People you can see the memes everywhere, videos everywhere. It's not good to be HOA president.
All right.
That's all I have. If you have any questions, I could answer them.
Okay. Gentleman in the blue shirt. You know the drill. Name and address.
My name is George Mills. I live at 2404 Cedar Elm, Choctaw. I don't know my zip code because I've been there 4 months. I've lived in this neighborhood. My thoughts on a pool is when I moved in, Mr. Favors backs up to the main road. His pool's drained most of the year. Why would we want a pool when we can swim in it 4 to 5 months of the year in this? I've just moved here from San Diego. We have $800 a month HOAs. I understand why these people don't want to raise their HOA. I'm semi-retired. I moved here to travel with my family. I like my neighborhood. But if you've ever lived in an HOA, then you'll know that only about 20% of the people get involved. That's why you got 25% of the vote. Most of the people open their garage door, they drive in, and they shut their garage door. I have met more people than probably most of my neighbors in the last 4 months simply because I walk my dogs 2 to 3 times a day. Most of the neighbors that I'm there with, they don't want a pool. This gentleman that spoke against it, I've never seen him. And he lives on perpendicular to my street. And so I think, I want to see Ideal get in there, finish up the lots that are in there, because that's what's going to bring my property values up. It's not going to be a pool.
Okay, I get it.
Thank you.
I'm not suggesting that we stop all development out there. I'm saying that for us to make an educated, informed decision to do one or the other
I
that will
understand.
allow the development to go on, I would like a little bit more information, so.
But it's not just the people that have been there 18 or 20 years. There's people that have been there 4 months like me.
I get it.
I've got a new neighbor that just moved in on Saturday, And so we want to see the neighborhood continue to grow. Like John said, we've been reactive as a HOA instead of proactive because we don't have the funds to fix the things that we need to fix.
No.
We have entry buildings that are dilapidated, all kinds of things. And so that's what we need to do. Thank you.
Under the way it is, yeah. I don't know. Matt, can they begin work on the future development without resolving this issue?
Knowing that next month we are going to one way or the other.
Because they have an active PUD. And nothing says that the pool has to be built in the next month.
No, the pool doesn't have to be built in the next month. They've been doing work on that, what is Section 5, and they have an application that'll come before you probably in September.
Okay, so they're not held up
September.
on continuing to work until this issue's resolved?
No.
Okay, all right. Sir, yes, sir. I am talking to you.
I'm sorry. Thank you very much. Just for clarification, I believe that's correct, but I think we have not been able to move forward with getting on the agenda for our plat, for a final plat. That is what I understand from Todd Brawley, who's our engineer here from Crafton Toll. Yeah, I believe
All right.
so. Just so long as we can continue to move that forward in good faith, I don't believe our plat changes if it's a
Right,
pickleball court or a
right,
pool.
right,
It's
right,
just a matter of
right.
moving forward.
Okay, all right. Any further public discussion? Yes, sir. Name and address, please.
The name is Charles Leach. I reside at 13117 Austrian Pine in Timber Ridge. I've lived there for 19 years. The pool has always been an issue. The letter that was sent out in April was perfectly clear to me. I had no difficulty in understanding what was at issue. So I just wanted to make that one point.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to close public discussion. Is there any discussion? I'm not calling for a vote yet of the council.
I think if I could just relate to the community, I think, Mayor, you would agree, a lot of the concerns that they had, whether it's things falling apart and not having enough money to address it, or whether it's disengaged voters and participants, everyone around this horseshoe as public servants can relate to that. Every year we have to figure out how do we pay for a street that's falling apart and we don't have enough taxes, and every year we have to figure out how do we engage more residents to show up to the polling booth to vote. But one thing I beg and plead with you guys, and I understand your frustration and I know that you don't like delay, is maybe consider canvassing your neighborhood. it is okay to get to know, knock on your neighbor's door. I've done it for many different variety of issues that come before this body. Go and knock that door. They'll either answer or they won't. Spend about 2 minutes a door. Get to know your neighbor. And even if they disagree with you, jot down that vote and maybe come back with more numbers that gives us a more holistic understanding of what the constituents want. And I want to apologize. I think our job as council members is not to deliver what developers and engineers and folks like that want. Our job is to represent the voices and the wish of the people whom we've been elected to represent. And I think what we struggled with up here tonight, for me personally, was there are potentially 200 homes within that neighborhood, and we only have approximately 59 people who voiced their position on it.
On that, I also cannot ignore that we have a planning commission that is tasked with looking into this and making a recommendation, and their recommendation was unanimous to deny this. But the vast majority of the people in the chambers are here because they want it approved. So I've got to reconcile representing the people versus listening to those people that are supposed to assist us in making these decisions. I don't like low voter turnout. And so I'm going to call for a vote. It's either going to be, I'm going to call for a motion. It's either going to be a motion to approve the PUD, which means you want pickleball, a motion to deny the PUD, meaning you want the pool, or a motion to table or something else.
I make a motion that we table it till next month and come back in the same documents that it is today with more specific, whatever this word is, on the vote.
I second.
Okay, we have a motion to table in a second, and so that you're all aware, this means we cannot change what comes back to us. We'll just pick up this argument again in a month.
And hopefully there's a clearer.
And hopefully the neighborhood has a little bit more of a unified voice.
'Cause
But
we can't win.
you know, I will tell you, me personally, and I'm one of 7, one of 6, because Rick can't vote. That's true. If it's a close or a tie vote, I'm going to listen to my planning commission. Because that's what they are tasked to do. So that being said, we have a motion and a second to table this matter. All in favor?
No.
Okay. All right, so let's do a roll call vote. This is, if you are voting aye, you're voting to table the matter. Ward 1.
Aye.
Ward 2.
Yes.
Ward 3. Aye. Ward 4.
No.
Ward 5.
Aye.
And the mayor votes aye. So the motion to table passes.
Thank you. Appreciate your time.
Next item on the agenda is D3. This is public hearing, discussion, and consideration action for a special use permit to allow communication services towers antennas at 1117 Christine Drive.
Thank you. This is a special use permit application for a 150-foot monopole cellular tower at the subject property. Typically for cellular tower equipment, if it stays within the allowable heights for the zoning district, they just apply for a building permit and we issue it. For this application, since they're requesting a tower that is taller than the heights allowed in the C3 zoning district, they do need a special use permit from the council. There is a provision in the zoning regulations where, you know, if the tower is going to be, you know, above that height, they're required to set the tower back by not an equal foot for foot amount, but by a proportionate amount. So in this case, the setback as under that provision of the zoning regulations would be 112.5 feet. The tower in question would be set back by 41 and a half feet thereabouts, which from the residentially zoned properties to the north. We did comply with state and local notification requirements on this. We did have one phone call where the nature of the application was asked about, and at the public hearing before the Planning Commission, there was an adjoining property owner that expressed concerns. The Planning Commission did vote 4-1 to recommend approval of this item.
Any discussion?
There were some concerns from staff in regards to this, based on the staff report. Is that accurate?
Yes, I would say that is accurate, yes.
This is a public hearing. Does anybody in the audience want to say anything about this matter? There being none, I'm going to close public discussion.
I'm sorry, one more question that just came to my mind, if that's okay.
No, we can still talk.
Okay, Planning Commission members, I think Ward 5 member voted in opposition, is that correct? Is that the one vote, no vote? Do you recall?
I don't recall. I should have put it in the staff report, but I don't recall off the top of my head.
That's okay.
Sorry.
It's kind of tight on these unless the way the statute is that.
But this is taller than the statute is, and so we have say in that. Any further discussion? I'll entertain a motion.
I move to reject this item based on the staff report and some of the things I came across in the staff report. And I did reach out to Mr. Hayes. He did say he was the no vote. I just wanted to confirm that because I know he's new to the board, and so I didn't want him to mix up items. But I'm going to put my faith in him as a resident, and I think there was one resident that had called in opposition to it as well. So I haven't had any residents call me to tell me to support it.
So we have a motion to deny.
Second.
Is the applicant here? Yes. Do you want to say anything? Yes, please. And I have been informed that I'm not allowed to make motions or seconds, apparently. Sarah's taking the fun out of it.
Okay. My name's Cole Talbot. I'm at 18140 South Yale Avenue, Bixby, Oklahoma, representing the applicant, Branch Communications, on behalf of AT&T with this application. So we are here to present 150-foot monopole. I think the staff did a great job of covering what the project is and all of that. A couple things that I would like to add is we did provide a zero fall radius letter, which means that this tower is designed for instances like this when we are close to buildings, property lines, residential homes, which is becoming more and more frequent as phones and data is more and more needed. We have this tower designed to collapse within itself or within the lease area. So we have a 60-foot by 60-foot lease area surrounding this tower, meaning that in a catastrophic event, this pole would fall within the area that we have fenced off and leased, meaning that there would be no adverse effect on surrounding properties. That's one thing that I'd like to add. The second thing I would like to add is this is AT&T would be what we call the anchor tenant. AT&T has FirstNet, the FirstNet licensing, so they are able to provide the FirstNet services for first responders in the area. In the event of a catastrophic event, power outages, things like that, when phone service, if you were to lose internet in this area, currently service is limited in this area. So if you were to have an event where you were to lose power and home internet were to go down for an extended period of time, honestly, phone service would be non-existent. So, a tower here is much needed. That would also allow first responders to communicate when your regular cellular data would not be working. Those are two major benefits to the community, and we do ask that you follow the Planning Commission's vote. I know it's 4-1. I do ask for your support on this. The last thing I would add is that I was the site acquisition agent for this, meaning that when AT&T sent us this site, I was the one that went out and started talking to landowners, property owners in the area. The first thing that I always do is look for existing towers or existing structures, buildings, water towers, other cell phone towers, et cetera. Unfortunately, in this area, because it is highly residential, so there's not a lot of options in this area, But really what we're limited to here is, I targeted the commercial area. So that's why we chose this area. I understand that it's not the most desirable area, but there is a need for cell phone service, and this is the only solution to that need, is going in the commercial area to help cover these homes and this highly trafficked area. So again, do ask for your support and to follow the Planning Commission vote. Appreciate your time, and I'm happy to answer any questions if there is any.
So these towers have become ubiquitous in our society today.
Yes.
It wasn't always the case, just even 10 years ago. Are there any instances that you're aware of where they pose a harm to the community outside of looking ugly and occasionally falling on somebody's head?
I'm not aware of any falling on anyone's head. I'm not aware of any. Aesthetic is usually the only argument that people make, which is actually protected under the Telecommunications Act of '96. Aesthetics is not a reason for denial. I know that we do have the setback here that we are asking for the special use for that reason. But aesthetics alone is not a reason. It's federally protected for denial for that reason. But I don't know of any true harm that a tower has caused outside of aesthetics.
I didn't think so. Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Summers, would you have any input on that question? And maybe elaborate on some of the concerns I guess staff had, if you could.
Yeah, I would say the main concerns that staff have just are really the proximity to the homes. Towers have equipment around the base. That equipment needs cooling. There's also typically generators that are associated with the equipment because you don't want a power failure to take away cell service. So it was mostly, I would say the concerns from staff were mostly reducing the setback means that equipment and that associated noise is then closer to those residences to the north.
And I know the gentleman said that there wasn't any other areas within Ward 5, I guess, or in that area. Would like 23rd Street not be a better area, or maybe 36th Street, somewhere where, I don't know, I'm asking Mr. Summers, I don't even know if you know,
No, we don't look at the
Okay.
radio frequency maps to see.
Do you know?
Yeah, and I know it sounds crazy, but we were really given about a quarter of a mile because there is an existing network that we're tying into. So for instance, if you go too far north, then you're going to lose what they're trying to offload to the south, and the same vice versa. I mean, we have very targeted areas. When we get a new search ring from any carrier that we work with, typically the most that we can move from where they're targeting is a half of a mile, and sometimes it's less, just because of what they're trying to pinpoint. It's very niche, and it's very tough to do that in some instances. And that's the only way you can really get reliable coverage into these very highly populated areas. And we're also retro building with development. We're trying to keep up now with places that have grown and things like that. So there are other land opportunities, but not that from an RF engineer standpoint they could approve, if that makes sense. We actually did speak with the OG&E. I'm not sure the exact distance. I know it was about maybe 3/4 of a mile to the north and east of here. That was a candidate that was submitted, but was denied because it was too far north for what AT&T was looking for. And then I would add also that this tower would be equipped with a backup battery. So we have 8 hours of backup battery life before any generator would kick on. We'd have to be without power for 8 hours before you would see a backup generator come into play.
Sarah, I know why you made your motion, because I appreciate the fact that you're supporting the person that's on this planning commission. But I'm going to vote against it. Okay.
Well, hang on a second. Wait.
Can I not say that?
Well, you can say that, but before you get to that point, I want to know, is your motion still to deny? Okay. So, and is your second still a second?
Yes.
Okay. Is there any further discussion before we vote? You were not out of place. You were correct. But I wanted to give her the chance, since we did. No. So, all right. So we have a motion and a second to deny. All of those in favor of the denial, vote aye. Those against?
No.
Okay, so we'll take a roll call vote. Oh, man, you guys are going to do this to me. If you're voting aye, you are voting to deny the item. Ward 1. Ward 2. Ward 3. No. Ward 4.
No.
Ward 5.
Aye.
Oh, my gosh. And the mayor, and the, and the mayor votes no. So, there's a motion to approve. Do we have a
Second.
second? We have a motion to approve and a second. Again, a roll call vote. Ward 1. Now the motion is to approve the. Okay. Ward 2? Ward 3? Yes. Ward 4?
Yes.
Ward 5?
No.
And the mayor votes yes. So the item is passed.
Thank you, everyone. I appreciate you.
Pat? You know, I noticed that Rick's not here. And he missed out on that first item, and then he missed out on this item. So I'm going to get Rick back. Yeah. All right. Now,
Just FYI, I'm not going to be here next month.
I won't be here in October. So. All right, item D5. Correct? Four.
This is the drinking establishment.
Oh, yes. Said the man hoarding the donuts. Public hearing, discussion, public hearing, discussion, consideration, and action for a special use permit to allow drinking establishments at 721, 723 South Air Depot.
Thank you. This is a special use permit application to allow the sale of alcoholic beverages at the subject property. This site is zoned C3, which is one of our commercial zoning districts, and it is located within an existing shopping center. We did comply with state and local notification requirements and have not received any comments in support or opposition to this application. If the application is approved, the applicant would still need a letter of compliance from my staff to take to the ABLE Commission, and the Planning Commission unanimously recommended approval of this item.
Any discussion of the council? Any public discussion?
The applicant is present if you want to hear from the applicant.
Only if he wants to talk, but might not need to.
Yes, I will.
She, all right, name and address.
Tasha Wynn, 6001 Sandy Hill Road in Choctaw.
Do you have anything to say?
I don't.
I have a question.
Okay.
Why in the world would we need another bar in Midwest City? What's so special about your place?
Well, we're going to provide farmers market ingredients with signature cocktails that you can't get anywhere else.
Sold.
Okay.
Sounds good to me.
Thank you so much. Possibly. All right, thank you so much.
We're going to close public discussion. Any further discussion? I'll entertain a motion.
I make a motion to approve.
We have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? There being none, that passes. What I'm going to do is I'm going to ask that we vote to recess. We're going to, okay, I'm going to ask for a motion to recess. We'll take a 5-minute break. When we come back, I'm going to convene the Economic Development Commission so that Shana can make her presentation and be out of here before 5 o'clock. Then we will reconvene the council and pick up from there. So I need a motion to recess.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? No. Let's take 5 minutes and then we'll.
4:45.
I'm going to call to order, out of turn, the Economic Development Commission. The first item on the agenda is the consent agenda, which is just approving the last minutes. And so do I have a motion? Approved. And we have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? There being none. Discussion item D1, review of the Midwest City Chamber of Commerce's quarterly activities for the first and second quarters of 2026. And at this point, Shana, if you want to come on up and give us your 2 cents.
Thank you all. How are you doing today, Council? Great. My name is Shana Bennett, President and CEO of the Midwest City Chamber of Commerce. I have submitted my quarterly report. I'm not going to read the whole thing to you, just going to touch on a couple of highlights because we do a lot of stuff. Right now, our membership count is up. The report that I have for you states that we have 24 new members, but as of this morning, we are at 38 new members. So we have had a huge push over the summer. Our goal each year is to grow by 50 new members, as that is within our realm and with what the population of the city can withhold. The Chamber will be celebrating our 80th anniversary in March of 2027. So we do have some new initiatives, as well as a new community directory and guide that will come out. And on June 30th, we hosted a Salute to Freedom reception, and this is where we introduced all of our new members to our new branding for the 80th anniversary and provided them with a new member sticker. We are working with our ambassadors to ensure that we are continuing to promote shopping local in Midwest City. As far as the Chamber programming, in the last 6 months, we have hosted 33 community networking events, from Perks and Pastries to Salute to Freedom to our ribbon cuttings and business after hours. We have hosted a collaborative luncheon for Senator James Lankford, along with the Choctaw, Hara, Spencer, and Dell City Chambers. That had a very large turnout, as well as hosting the City Council Forum that some of you were a part of back in April. A few other things to note on our partnership with the city and part of our Picnic with Protectors event. We were able to provide lunch to all of the Public Works department in May, and then we were also able to use funds from that account to provide all of the box lunches for the volunteers through the community cleanup and public works staff for Keep Oklahoma Beautiful. For our military affairs, of course, we have been actively involved at Tinker. I appreciate the time so I can make it to a dinner this evening. But of course, as you know, we are heavily involved with the Navy League of Oklahoma City, ensuring that their golf tournament stays here at John Conrad Golf Course. We are an NFE partner as well for the Tinker Air Show for 2027, so we're excited to continue our volunteer coordinating efforts as we welcome 300,000 guests to the Midwest City area. Right now, just continuing our education within the chamber industry. As you know, I do sit on the board of directors for the Chamber of Commerce Executive Association here in Oklahoma. And then I did list a large list of upcoming events that we have for the rest of the year. But what we are really here to talk about is the shining gem that we have of Midwest City, and that is the Tinker and the Primes International Aerospace Conference that will start next Tuesday. We are very excited to welcome almost 1,300 attendees to the Reed Center here in Midwest City. That includes over 72 exhibitors, from prime contractors to small business, and over 150 aerospace companies are represented. We have 7 international partners that will be joining us as well. France, Spain, Dubai, Israel, Canada, and Venezuela. So we are very excited to ensure that we are putting Midwest City on an international map for aerospace, that we are open for business. This conference, of course, is to attract aerospace to Oklahoma as a whole. Even if we are not able to get them in our city limits, which is always the goal, we know that they will be doing business with Tinker at one point or another, and there is sales tax dollars to have from every head that is coming in. In the past, the Chamber has hosted a luncheon on Tuesday and Wednesday for all of our attendees. Due to space constraints, we are not able to do that, but really helped us pivot and push things out into the economy. So we have now partnered with Rose State College and Middell Technology Center to provide shuttle service, and we will now be shuttling 800 attendees out to the Town Center Plaza District as well as the Sooner Rose District for a 2-hour lunch break on both days of that conference. We have 68 scheduled supplier interviews with industry partners, and then we have 24 scheduled supplier interviews with the Department of War. With this, we have also provided complimentary tickets to aviation high schools throughout Oklahoma. We want to show that we have a workforce that is ready to go into aviation and to support Tinker Air Force Base. The largest accomplishment that we have is that we are very excited to welcome the Undersecretary of the Air Force, Honorable Matthew Lohmeyer, next Tuesday. This is a huge win for Midwest City. This is 5 years in a row that we have had Pentagon representation through our doors and in our town. That also strengthens the relationship that we have with Tinker to ensure that they stay fully funded and have the tools needed to continue the expansions that they have. Of course, we will also have Congressman Tom Colby speaking, as he is the chair of the Appropriations Committee for the House. And then our very own Senator Brenda Stanley will be speaking as well as the chair of the Military and Veterans Affairs Committee for the Oklahoma State Senate. We are very excited about this event, as we are every year. We look forward to showcasing what Midwest City has to have, or what Midwest City has, and how we are able to support the aerospace and the military communities. Again, there is a whole lot more on that report. If you want to know what I'm doing, that's just a glimpse of it. We feel that we are doing everything that we can to promote Midwest City in the aerospace sector, but as a whole, and would like to be more involved in that economic development process. So please let us know how we can better position the city and chamber on a marketing front. We've got a lot to look forward in 2028. We are way too close to downtown that it is impossible that we won't see Olympic traffic. So it is imperative the next 18 months that we are highlighting Midwest City so that we continue to attract those international guests to our town.
You had a board meeting last Tuesday.
Yes, sir. An executive committee, yes, sir.
Right, and you've approved the contract that we have with you, and you did that at Tuesday, right?
Absolutely, on the 21st of July.
The Thursday before that, I met with you and I asked you for two things. One, the contract, and you said you'd bring that up, and I also asked that you put Robert Coleman on the board, and you said you would take it to the board. Was that taken to the board last Tuesday?
Absolutely. It was not taken to the board last Tuesday. That was in conjunction with our annual audit that we do, and so that meeting ran over by about an hour as we reviewed and received our clean audit from Finley and Cook.
Will that request be considered in August?
Absolutely. That next executive committee meeting should be the third week of August, with our board meeting following on August 25th. As of right now, it's written in our bylaws that city officials are ex officios only. And then after reviewing with our Chamber of Commerce, state, and the association, that's just a difficult ask. But of course, that's not my decision. That is up to the board if they will allow that position.
Okay, but the chamber is in discussions right now about hosting Tinker and the Primes outside of Midwest City starting next year.
There is market research that is being done. We have been asked by our exhibitors of what that looks like. We are no longer meeting aerospace industry's needs with the facility that we have.
When did those discussions begin?
When we were approached by our aerospace companies.
When was that?
It's an ongoing conversation every year, sir.
Okay. At what point was Midwest City informed that this would be outside of Midwest City in the future?
There is nothing to report at the moment. We have not put together any numbers or anything of the sort. The market research and ensuring
Shana,
my board is educated.
I understand what you're saying. Hear it from our side. Our side is we're the city, and you're standing there telling us about the shining star, Tinker and the Primes, supporting Midwest City, supporting Midwest City's chamber, supporting Tinker. And I only found out within the last 24 hours that the chamber is in discussions with possibly having Tinker and the Primes outside of Midwest City. And I'm wondering, at what point could Midwest City have found out about it? If we had had somebody on the executive board, would we have known about this sooner?
Those conversations have happened just recently, even though it has been a foot stomped point from our aerospace companies for many years, especially with the attraction of the Pentagon speakers that we've had over the last 5 years. Again, I cannot speak to the board's development. I follow the bylaws and I follow the instructions in which they give me. And with that was to include market research as well. When there was something to report and a plan had been developed, those conversations right now are still in the infant stage. I do believe that there's been a breach of conflict of interest, as that information was not supposed to leave our executive committee.
Okay, well, I just think that if we're going to be a partner on this thing, it'd be nice if we were at the table having this discussion. And I'm shocked to find out that you're even considering it when we're not even aware of that. I'm concerned. And I've been trying ever since I got elected to improve the relationship the city has with the chamber.
Yes,
and
sir.
it seems that at every step of the way, the chamber is pushing back hard to not only separate our allegiance with one another and our cooperation with one another.
And I would have to say the same, sir, with the
Okay.
cancellation of events that we've experienced on your end.
So,
Well, let's talk about the cancellation. Shana, it didn't get canceled. You came to us, you told us how important it was to you. You, not necessarily you, but, because you were trying to smooth things over, and I give you credit for that, because you were in that meeting, as was I, and as was the mayor. We didn't cancel it. It got.
Absolutely, we did come to an agreement, but we do know moving forward that
Well, but
your
we-
participation in
but
those
we
events
told-
are no longer
we
wished,
told
and so
you-
there are things that
we
will
told
be
you
changing
why,
as
though,
well.
that wasn't the only thing that we were trying to back off on. There was.
Absolutely, I
Okay,
can't
just-
speak for the other organizations, I can speak for the decisions that were made on behalf of mine.
Mr. City Manager, I guess I got a question for you. In that meeting, it got brought up about not having lunch not being able to handle for the lunch at the Reed Center, correct? Remember that part of the conversation?
Yes,
And I thought that you said that had been worked out.
that's my understanding. They've worked that out
But now she's telling us that they're gonna put people.
for Tinker in the Promise.
There's no space to have lunch, sir, we're using the entire ballroom to seat 1,400 people.
Just so that,
And we were talking about the sky.
but the only reason I bring it up is what I understood was gonna happen is that they
The
were gonna,
SkyTrain.
they were gonna order some food.
And we do have that planned as well, but that restaurant is in no way capable to accommodate 800 people on their own for lunch. I'm already feeding volunteers and exhibitors at their exhibit tables, but there's just no additional space to be able to have that.
Now, my understanding is they've worked out a way to handle the lunch, and I think that's part of moving people to
And our-
Centertown Center and to the
Yes.
Rose State College.
I misunderstood. I thought they were gonna try to keep them there at the convention.
I think they're still
And
gonna try to keep
absolutely,
some
the
of
Reed
them
Center
there.
has offered a buffet during
Okay.
that time.
Okay.
So we are trying to keep the dollars local within the Reed Center the best that we can, but they have expressed to us the operational challenges that they have to make that happen as well. And that's where our partnerships with Rose State and Mid-Del Tech to push these individuals out to the economy was the best decision logistically and functionally.
Just wanted to make sure that the people there at the hotel or the Reed Center aren't ordering a lot of food that's not gonna get.
They were aware of all of these conversations.
Okay.
We had our pre-conference meeting last week, and all of those details were discussed. I have a head count to submit to them as we are pre-selling the tickets for their lunch buffet for them because they do not have the operational capability to check people out.
Can I ask a question? I feel like there's a lot of information that was just brought out here that I myself have not been aware of. I doubt many of the other council members were. So I would like to have, and I guess I formally request a meeting so I can be brought up to speed to what has been evolving. But is it correct that there's a possibility that the Tinker and the Primes may not happen at the Reed Center sometime in the near future? Or is that what we're talking about when we're talking about moving the venue? Is that what's being discussed?
I cannot answer that without a vote of my board. I have 19 board members who make that decision and let me know which direction to take.
Is that your
It's
understanding?
my job to educate them.
Okay.
That is what we've been told.
If I may ask you, Ms. Bennett, Is it, and I heard you say something about not enough room to accommodate. What are we not able?
Absolutely. One in particular partner would be the Boeing Company, who has a large presence here in Oklahoma. At our current state, we are only able to offer them an 8x10 booth. The level of importance that we have put Tinker and the Primes on, they would like to be able to showcase themselves accurately and have asked for a footprint of 40x70 that I will never be able to accommodate. So when we are talking about the organizations who are investing in the Chamber and Tinker and the Primes, I have to listen to those who are essentially paying the bills and keeping your chamber moving forward. With that, includes those partners through the aerospace community and the exhibitors that we have to speak to. If we are not able to give them what they want, they will stop coming. Hill Air Force Base, who is also a sustainment center, and Air Logistics Complex like we have at Oklahoma, launched their own HYPE conference this year. Warner Robins over in Georgia is looking to do the same. At some point when we cannot deliver and no longer bring those deliverables to our exhibitors, they're going to choose somewhere else anyways.
But shouldn't we be part of the discussion?
Absolutely, sir. There's nothing at the moment for us to present to you. I haven't even begun market research because that is the first first set of orders I've been given from my executive board.
Well, when
There's
somebody
no
from the chamber tells somebody from Midwest City staff last week that this is happening, then obviously we are.
Absolutely, I'll be more than happy to speak on that. The question was asked of the Reed Center, and I told them the exact same thing that I've told you. It is up to my board to make that decision and to listen to those in the aerospace community that are funding this conference.
Okay.
And
All
is
right.
the chamber board made up of Midwest City residents?
It is made of Midwest City businesses as well as our larger partners, Cox, OG&E. We do have a balance of small business and the larger corporations that have a stake in this town.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. I'll be more than happy to provide that board of directors list for you if you would like to see that. Done.
I just really
I think there's
feel-
absolutely some further conversations to be had, but like I said, I don't have anything to provide you at the moment because those orders were just given to me to begin that market research at the request of our aerospace industry partners.
Okay. Anything else, Shana?
Can I just, if I could be an advocate for our city, and Shana, I've known you for a long time. I know how much you love this community. I know how much you've invested in this community. But I will tell you, since I got accustomed to being a council person, one thing that this city has prided itself on was the relationship it had with the chamber and the
Absolutely.
work that the chamber does for the city and the investment that we also make in the chamber, right? And so if I could beg and plead with you, right, as a Midwestian, and I know your family's history here, be an advocate for our city.
I
mean,
am
this
an
is one of
advocate.
the things that we are so proud of, and I know you're working diligently for us. So
Absolutely.
keep our baby here, and
That is the
and if there's things that we can do to recuperate, to make that possible, please, to continue being our advocate, please.
100%. My entire job is to ensure that we are putting Midwest City on a large scale. We are attracting residents, we are attracting taxpayers, we are attracting visitors. That is, and will always be the goal of the chamber. We want to ensure people are shopping in our small, I was gonna point to Bricker Bricker one eye, our small businesses and specifically with our chamber members. However, over the last 21 years that this event has been going on, it has not always stayed in Midwest City, just so that you know, it has been to Tulsa and downtown. There is no greater fight that I want to have to keep it here, but I am listening to much larger organizations and what Oklahoma and aerospace needs before we lose our chance altogether.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions?
Just make a comment. It is absolutely great news that Tinker and the Primes is possibly growing so big that Midwest City can't accommodate it anymore. That's not a bad thing. That's a good thing. And we
Well,
are
others think
right
otherwise.
next door to a world-class convention center. Oklahoma City, God bless them, they're spending billions of dollars to build an infrastructure down there that attracts huge conferences and events and things. So the best thing we can do is partner with them should, unfortunately, this thing gets so big that we can't handle it anymore, and we take whatever we can handle and farm the rest of it out to our neighbors in exchange. Rick, we can negotiate with Oklahoma City pretty tough. We get something in exchange for it.
We just want to be part of the conversation.
Absolutely. And when I am directed to open that door and to sit down and provide you those presentations, I'll be more than happy to. But as our organization, the bylaws and the confidentiality that's written into them.
I've received a text while you were talking from a business owner saying that he can get some food trucks down there if need be too.
I do have several that I'm working with as well. I'd hate to step on Rose State and Mid-Del Tech's toes and not farming that out, as well as Colette, as they've partnered with us in Town Center Plaza for that traffic.
Just want to say, if we're part of the conversation, we can help solve solutions.
Yes, sir, I do understand that. That is, as a professional event planner, that is something we've talked about. We have nowhere for those people to sit and eat. And if I have them go outside in 100-degree weather, eat at a bistro table where there's no shade, help me understand where those logistics.
I have come to the chamber a number of times in the last 90 days saying, how can we improve? And that's all I'm saying, and it just seems like I'm the one that's knocking. I don't feel that anybody's contacting me saying, we need the city's help. Until you reached out for that one meeting, we had that meeting and we came to a good compromise and put that event back on track. All I'm saying is it goes both ways. And I really would like more communication.
Absolutely. I apologize. The last 12 weeks have been dedicated to bringing this conference to you. We will do better at that communication, sir.
Okay. I look forward to that.
Thank you. Any other questions, council?
All we want is we all want the same thing, which is to see Midwest City grow. And we're working on that. We've got stuff that we want to share with you as well, so.
Be happy to listen.
Thanks.
Thank you all for your time. Have a great day.
Next item on the agenda is D2. D2 is review the quarterly communications and marketing with Josh Ryan. It's like, where's Josh?
I apologize for my hesitation there, Mayor and Council. Thank you very much. I am here, of course, to answer any questions that you have about the report itself. I think you see a pretty detailed list of the initiatives and the information that we're covering out of the Communications and Marketing Department. Of course, I can't go without saying thank you so much to Benny Fulkerson and how he's improved our social media program. And he's got an energy and an enthusiasm for social media that I've never found in myself, I can be honest with you. He does a fantastic job, and I love having him on staff. And also, of course, with Melanie and the improvements that she's made along the way with special events in her first year. We got some really good numbers this past week. We were looking at Placer AI data and looking to see how we did with the 4th of July with the postponement, the storm coming through on the 4th. And we actually were building up to have a really good event that night. And we actually met, even with having to postpone and do just fireworks and the lasers on the next night, we actually matched the number of visitors from our previous year, the event last year. That was in the range of, just in the central event area, about 3,800 people, just in the middle of Regional Park. That doesn't include all of the surrounding streets, everybody that parks past the golf course, everybody that parks on the other side of the soccer complex, Crest, and all of those other locations. So it was going to be a big party, and I am really bummed that we did not get to execute on that party on the 4th of July. It was going to be a really good time. I would like to thank Councilman Melton and anybody else that got a chance to come out and hand out glow sticks on the night that we did hang out. Carrie did a great job out there. She was actually gathering information for Spirit Playground and the survey that we're doing. So we had a glow stick in pretty much every kid's hand, right? I think so. The glow sticks are coming back. Now Glenn He doesn't want the glow sticks to come back. The glow sticks left some extra trash in the park because we found out, and I'm probably taking too long, I'm sorry, but we actually found out with the little foam glow sticks that if you take them apart, you can, blow the little end out at people and pop them like a little pop gun. So that was probably the result of, that's where that trash came from, Glenn. So I apologize to Glenn, to Ward 7 for that issue. But we do appreciate all the support, and I'm here to answer any questions that you have about our programs.
Just thank you. Thank you for all the work that you do, particularly for the 4th of July celebration. I know the weather came in and it was crazy, and I will let all the kids know that we can't have fun things because of Glenn.
That's right, Glenn.
I love that.
No
Just don't
fun
make it
for
my
the
fault.
kids, Glenn says. Now, we appreciate Josh, and it was a difficult decision, July 4th. We knew the storms were coming in, and we needed time to clear the park out. And I know a lot of people wanted us to at least play one set of music with the Wise Guys, but anyway, I think we made the right decision. And then we had just as good a turnout the next night with the fireworks, so we were happy about that. I publicly don't get to thank Josh very often, but I appreciate him. He handles all these weekend tournaments, and we have boatloads of people coming into this community in these tournaments, going staying in our hotels. We average 5 states when he does a big tournament, 5 different states people come from to attend these tournaments, and their kids to play, and they are eating in our restaurants, they are shopping at all our retail stores. So, and he makes sure on weekends that there's not anything that falls through his crack, as he says.
Well, I appreciate that, and I'd like to say thank you to Mr. Abbott and my staff at Parks and Rec for all their work over there on those weekends too. So thank you.
I just wanted to say a quick thing. Thank you so much for saving 4th of July. Just also as a local resident, I was a little bit disappointed, but nothing could be done because of the weather, and you guys came in swinging hard. I actually went and just saw a lot of the glow sticks and people having a really good time, and it just a lot of good feelings. So thank you so much to you and your staff and anyone else involved for just doing an amazing job.
Thank you, Councilman.
There's nothing to vote on, so the next item is public discussion. This is for the Economic Development Commission only. Anybody? Nobody? There being none, then we're going to adjourn the Economic Development Commission. We're going to reconvene Midwest City Council. We're going to go to D5. D5 is public hearing, discussion, consideration, and action to approve an ordinance to close for public use and easement.
Hang on a second. Mr. Mayor, you'll need to take a vote to come out of recess.
We do.
Second.
Okay, fine. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? How come I don't need a vote to adjourn the meeting to call the meeting to order in the first place?
It's a good question.
Those are formalities that you have the authority to do within as a presiding officer.
Yes, I was going to say.
Since
Socrates
votes have
Councilmember
treatise on them.
Eads just said that we're moving on, so.
I can sit here and continue on.
She's the expert on Robert's rules. All right. D5, public hearing, discussion, consideration, possible action to approve an ordinance to close for public use and easement recorded in the Oklahoma County Clerk and lying in the northwest quarter, section 12, Township 11, range north, range 2, west of the Indian Meridian.
Honorable Mayor, City Council, City Manager, the property owner who's trying to sell that property came to us and asked a little bit about that easement because it essentially runs through the middle of the property, and they're having a little bit of a hard time selling it. Turns out we have no utilities, and none of the other groups, OG&E, ONG, none of those folks have utilities here. We don't see a need for it. We don't need to use it to access Soldier Creek. It doesn't serve a purpose for us, and so we're deciding to vacate the easement to help that commercial property be a little more viable and actually contingent, I think, to sell it. So That's the point of this. I'd be happy to entertain any questions.
Any questions?
We don't have anything running through the,
Nope,
there at all.
nope.
Yeah.
We definitely would not be vacating it if we did. That's a good question.
All right, this is public discussion. Is there any member of the public that wants to address the council on this item? There being none, I'll entertain a vote. There's a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? There being none, the item passes. D6, discussion and consideration of possible action to approve a professional services contract with ADG Blatt for design services associated with Midwest City Indoor Rec and Aquatics Facility in the amount not to exceed.
I think we just skipped 6.
No, this is 6. No. 5 and 6. Okay, so you did what I did. You printed it out when she first sent it out, and 5 and 6 are identical. She then sent out a corrected one that says we're removing 6 and renumbering them all. So what you have as 7
Guilty
is
as charged.
D6. Ah, see? I read my book. So, all right, so D6 is on the professional services contract for $2.7 million for the rec center and pool. Mr. Sullivan.
Honorable Mayor and Council, thank you for hearing this item. My memo is before you. I think it's fairly well explained how we went through this process over the last several months to arrive at this point tonight. I would point out that ADG Blatt has experience in this field, extensive experience. They have experience with us as well as a city. I have Mr. Tony Blatt, one of the partners for the firm, is with us tonight, and Jessica Snyder, an architect that will be working on our project. And by the way, we are building a pool.
With air conditioning.
With air conditioning that works, yes. Right, Tony? We're going to build it with air conditioning that works.
You know what's funny is I was supposed to actually take a tour of Mitch Park just the other day, but I had to cancel because something else came up here, and their air conditioning went out at Mitch Park, and
hopefully it'll be fixed by the time you take your tour.
Yeah, I would hope so.
I would also add that this council engaged a contract with Willowbrook Construction to be the project, to construct the project and provide pre-construction services. All 3 team members, including myself, City Manager Tim Lyon, the Superintendent of Middale Public Schools, and Willowbrook have all reviewed this, and everyone is in support of this contract. So I'd be happy to entertain any questions.
Will the two buildings, the pool and the Y, be separate buildings, or will they be one building, one roof with separate components within that building?
Councilman Thompson, I don't want to get too technical here, but the intent, and I will, if you'd like to ask the architect some questions, we can do that as well, but the intent would be that this would be a building, one building, but some things would be segregated in the competition pool. So they will have their own, the intent, and we'll let the designers handle some of this from a cost-benefit analysis as we go along. However, the intent would be that their building would be part of our building, and not a standalone, if I could use that term, but some things would be segregated that they would have to maintain and pay the cost associated with those utilities, such as water, electricity, natural gas to heat water. They'll have their own mechanical systems, pumps. It's my understanding, I'm not an aquatics expert, an natatorium expert, but it's my understanding a leisure pool and a competition pool, even the water is at a different temperature as well. So they must maintain separate mechanical systems that do that for the building. So,
and let me point out as well, there will be 2 separate agreements. There'll be an agreement between the city and the YMCA, and there'll be an agreement between the school system and the YMCA to operate the competition pool. So the more that we can segregate the cost, the easier it'll be to manage each contract for each party.
We'll have to work out some details. Mr. Maish has already drafted some agreements that are being reviewed on both sides by YMCA, Middale Schools, and ourselves. But there will be some things that we'll have to work through in those agreements, catastrophic situations associated with roofing and things like that that we'll have to work through when it comes down to the bottom line. But we're going to do our best to make it a building, but some things segregated. Is that a
I think
decent
so.
explanation?
You've made it about as clear as the Mississippi River mud. But
I'd
it's-
also add that Willowbrook, we negotiated pretty hard on this price. And ADG Blatt did things on their end that we asked them to do, and they agreed to some concessions, and we got to the number that was in Willowbrook Construction's budget pre-construction estimate. We got to the number that the YMCA is currently seeing for some of their construction projects for architectural engineering services. So we all feel confident that we struck a good deal.
Excellent. Thank you.
Anything further? I don't know, I didn't look.
Well-
This is not, okay.
I make a motion to approve.
Second. Motion, we have a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? There being none, this item passes.
All right.
D7,
Thank you. Let's get to work.
discussion, consideration, possible action for an ordinance amending Midwest City Municipal Code on amusements.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. The provisions in Chapter 7, we have two sections here, one dealing with family amusement centers and one dealing with coin-operated devices. Staff came with a recommendation to revoke these because the number of permits that we issue for each one of these two categories is very small, and it costs us much more to issue permits to these than to eliminate the program. Both programs are licensed by the state, and so we felt like state licensure would be sufficient in this situation. So the request was, and the request before you is to revoke these ordinances and put each one of these ordinances into reserve. This
No, I'm going to.
matter came up before the Ordinance Review Committee, and the Ordinance Review Committee reviewed this
There it
and
is.
recommended approval to the City Council. I'm happy to take any questions.
Just so you know, the ordinance review committee structure's kind of changed with the Susan Eads not being on the council anymore and the mayor changing, so now it's myself, the mayor, and Sarah Banna is part of that now. Make a motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? There being none. And for the rest of the council, we've got several ordinances that we're going to be doing. All of these came before the Ordinance Review Committee. So. D8, discussion and consideration of possible action approving an ordinance amending the Midwest City Municipal Code on taxi cabs.
This again was brought forward by the city clerk's office. In the last 5-6 years, correct me if I'm wrong, Sarah, we've issued one license under this program in the last 5 to 6 years. Again, it is one that has outlived its usefulness, and the request was to revoke and to place the entire Chapter 41 into reserve. That's what this ordinance amendment would do. This was again brought before the Ordinance Review Committee, reviewed, and the Ordinance Review Committee recommended approval to the City Council. Happy to take any questions.
Move to approve.
We have a motion, we have a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? There being none. D9, discussion, consideration, possible action of recommending to the City Council for approval an ordinance of the Midwest City Municipal Code on peddlers and solicitors. And are you walking very slowly for a reason? If you're going to walk that slow.
I always want to make sure if I'm stepping up here, it's actually my item.
This one is your.
I had a moment there.
This one
sorry
is
about
yours.
that. Mayor and Council, as always, thank you so much for the opportunity. This is just something that we're going to offer up. We're offering up to our our folks who go through this special event process an added benefit of having some event signage that can be wayfinding or, banner signs in either public or private spaces for their events, so they can actually, tell people, hey, we're having an event today. And this will come along with them actually working with us, giving their site plans. We'll make sure that the signage locations are on the site plans and that they actually pick them up at the end of the event as well. So just an added benefit for special events organizers.
Move to approve, thank you.
We have a motion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? There being none, item D10. Mike, this is you. You might want to start walking. Discussion, consideration, possible action of an ordinance amending the Midwest City Municipal Code, and this will be on weeds and trash. Oh, really?
I was already coming before you got smart, so.
You have the memo in front of you. It's cleanup that was very poorly written and limited the ability for code enforcement to enforce it. So it's just in my opinion, cleanup on some procedures after a storm. It went to the ordinance review, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
In point of fact, how does it work? Under the new rules, somebody's got a mess in their yard, you go see it, you give them a 10-day warning, and then after that, we clean it up and charge them for it?
Correct. If the current ordinance made it to where anytime there was a storm and there was no definition of what a storm was, we couldn't do anything for 60 days. So this eliminates that and puts it back to normal for Chapter 27 nuisances, which is by law, we give a 10-day notice to the owner. After that time, we can abate if need be.
And the appeals process would remain the same if they don't like your decision?
As of right now, yes, the appeal process is the same. We are city attorneys looking at the appeals to whether it needs to come to the council or whether we can form a special appeal board.
All right. I make a motion to approve.
We have
Second.
a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion. We have a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? You guys should have put these in order of.
We need exercise.
Discussion, consideration, possible action recommending City Council for approval an ordinance amending the Midwest City Municipal Code on peddlers and solicitors. This is item D11.
Thank you again, Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council. This item does two things. Basically, what it does is one, and I am going to invoke former City Council member Susan Eads' name again, because she was the one who brought to our attention the fact that estate sales and auctions, which are currently listed the same in our ordinances, actually do two different things. And so we reached out to members in that estate sale community, and they talked about the issues that they had. From those communications, we drafted a new set of ordinances that keep auctions exactly the way they were, but create a new section for estate sales, and how they will, and the fee that they will pay, and the steps that they must go through. Once drafted, it was reviewed again by members in that community, and they recommended to us that we would move forward with that because they liked those changes. And so that's one part of it. The other part of it deals with pop-up. We've had certain issues with certain pop-up businesses over the last couple three storms that we've had, and we didn't really have any kind of ordinance requirements for those. So we made it very clear that they'll fit into this section just like a peddler would, and requires them to come in, get a permit, and pay a permit fee for that. It also limits their permit to 30 days. So if they're going to be here longer than 30 days, they'll have to come back in and get that renewed. Again, this was taken before the Ordinance Review Committee, and the Ordinance Review Committee approved all of these, recommended approval for these changes. I'm happy to take any questions.
The auction stuff, this limits a place of, from having only one auction a year. So every 12 months. I am familiar with businesses that do auctions like every Friday night. You know, I mean, would a person or a business be able to do business in Midwest City like that if they had a barn or a big warehouse somewhere that would accommodate that?
We have not had that request yet. If we receive that request, we would have to look into it and see if there's some way for them to do it. We might have to do it, unfortunately, I hate to dump it on Matt, we might have to do it through a special use permit or something like that. As of right now, if somebody came with that and we needed to make a change for them to be able to operate that way, we could always, make that type of change in our ordinances and bring that back before the city council. But as of this time, we have not seen anybody who's wanted to do that.
All right, thank you.
Thanks. Anything further?
Not for me.
Entertain a motion?
Motion to approve?
Motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Discussion, consideration, I'm sorry, item D12, discussion, consideration, possible action of recommending the city council approval of an ordinance amending the Midwest City Municipal Code. This will be on trees. Mike?
Memo's in front of you again. We had some problems with the timelines in the code. One section said 10 days, one section said 30 days. We've cleaned it up so that the language matches. It went to the ordinance review. Happy to answer any questions.
Move to approve?
We have a motion. We have second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Item D13, discussion, consideration, possible action of an ordinance amending Midwest City Municipal Code on litter. Mike?
Yeah, specifically what we changed in here was for handbills. We had an issue as to where people could go legally and couldn't go. City attorney reviewed with Supreme Court rulings and cleaned up our language again. Went before ordinance review. Happy to answer any questions.
So this prohibits people from putting some flyer under my windshield while I'm parked at Crest?
So they can, the very first part of the ordinance said you couldn't do it, and then once they have permission from the business, they can do it. So that is still there. The part we cleaned up was once on public property, you have to be willing to accept. But if on private property, if the business owner allows it, then they can still do it.
Okay, thank you.
Move to approve?
Motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Item D14.
Thank you.
Discussion, consideration, possible action on an ordinance amending Midwest City Code on buildings and building regulations.
Yes, thank you. This proposes to amend Chapter 9 to largely accomplish three things. The first would be that it would allow the city to collect inspection fees on remodels and new builds of school projects and other government projects. Those currently take a lot of staff time. They're large projects that eat up a lot of my staff's time. Currently, I think the schools have about 7 projects that are ongoing that otherwise we would have collected about $60,000 in fees to cover the cost of my staff's time to inspect those projects. The second thing that this proposed ordinance does is it simplifies some of the licensing fees for our trades, electric, plumbing, and mechanical. Right now, as you could probably see in the red line version, there's a variety of fees that we charge for different trades. This simplifies those down to a single fee and also eliminates the renewal versus not renewal cost difference, and that is projected to be revenue neutral. The ordinance also proposes to deal with the issue of political signs, basically any signs that are placed in violation of the ordinance currently. The city collects and holds for a certain amount of time. This ordinance would essentially say that those are deemed trash once collected, when they're placed in the city right-of-way and other improper locations, and they can be disposed of immediately. And this was heard by the OOCC and recommended for approval.
Any questions? Entertain a motion?
Second.
We have a motion. We have a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? There being none. Item D15. Somebody wake up Ashley. Sorry. Discussion, consideration, possible action of an ordinance amending Midwest City Municipal Code, ordinance amending the code with regard to fire protection and prevention.
Yes, so these changes are really to reflect the current operational procedures of the Fire Marshal's Office. There were some updates that needed to be made. For example, with plan reviews, we're accepting digital plan reviews now as opposed to hard copy of papers. And then the other thing that we are looking to do is to update our International Fire Code to reflect the changes that are coming through the state to be the 2024 International Fire Code.
Any questions for Ashley? I'll entertain a motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? There being none. Item D16, discussion, consideration, possible action of approving an ordinance amending Midwest City Municipal Code with regard to enforcement officers.
We have some pretty broad language in Chapter 1, Section 112 about enforcement officers. However, most of our police actions, criminal traffic, are limited to just police. And we've had a growing number of incidents with medical emergencies that are not medical emergencies, tying up paramedics in our fire department. This change is to allow the fire department to write a false 911 calls if the evidence is there to submit that citation. It is not to allow any other authority other than this one particular charge.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, sure.
So, iPhones these days, and I don't know how it works, but when your phone is locked up and there's like a button to call emergency, like 911, for example, if my 2-year-old gets a hold of my phone, which he often does, and he clicks that button, you're not going to come after me, right?
So Midwest City actually has 2 subsections to our false 911 calls. We have the intentional, where you call and you know it's not an emergency, or you call and immediately hang up. When you have unintentional, for example, when somebody gets a hold of your phone, it can be cited, but if that is it, and I don't have the ordinance right in front of me, but it has to be repetitive and no change, and like, yeah, call 500 times, yeah.
Oh,
that
please
we
do
might
cite
charge.
it. And call Jeff Harrison with the Beacon before you do, so he can be there getting pictures.
If she cites me, she has to take the 2-year-old for a couple of days.
I know,
so.
what a great picture that will be.
It's $100 fine and $111 in cost, so.
Hey, that's cheaper than babysitting.
On the
Move to approve.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? There being none. Item D17, discussion and consideration possible action of approving an ordinance amending Midwest City Code with regard to warrant processing fees.
Yes, this is a process that our jail and our police department provides to people to process warrants. So rather than going down to Oklahoma County and spending all day, they can make an appointment. This is requested at police. There was some discussion of what to raise the amount to. We wanted to raise it, but we also wanted to keep it reasonable so that we did not run off anybody. This does take into consideration the time it takes, the scheduling, the staff, things like that, so.
Now, while we discussed this at the ordinance review, was decided that if the mayor should need to do that, he's gonna pay $400, but for the rest of us, it's
Apparently, I get $100 more.
Yeah. Move to approve.
Well, hang on one second.
I just want to point out, just real briefly, on these next 2 items, 17 and 18, these, starting with 17, the police chief, along with the union president at the time, brought this idea to us about taking this money and putting it into our health benefits plan so that we could not increase health premiums for the next 2 years, hopefully. And then the next one will be with the fire department, where there's an opportunity to collect. He'll go over that, but the money on the next one will go in as well. So I think it's You know, and it's not just for the police and fire department, it's for all the city employees. So I think it's something I'd like to recognize both of the chiefs for doing that.
Now,
To approve.
we have a motion, we have a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? There being none. Next item is D18, discussion, consideration, possible action of approving an ordinance amending Midwest City Municipal Code on fire protection and prevention. And while I was running for mayor, I heard that City of Tulsa did this, and I passed this on up the chain for the chief to look at. This is an opportunity to send a bill for our fire services to the insurance company of like cars involved in accidents. I'm going to allow the chief to fill in the blanks.
Yeah, so the current language in Chapter 15, Section 41 allows for the fire department to recover costs when responding to hazardous materials calls. This new language would authorize us to recover costs to motor vehicle accidents, motor vehicle fires under the first part. Now, that would be done through a third-party business, and it would basically be billed to the insurance of the person at fault. There's a very bright line here within the ordinance that it only goes to insurance. No citizen or person will be held personally liable for these recovery costs. So that's an important point to make. The second portion is allows us to recover costs for our operations to control illegal burning. So if you are illegally burning during a red flag day, burning during a county burn ban, you're burning without a permit, and that fire extends beyond your property and turns into some calamity that we've now got to respond to, and that allows us to recover costs for those operations. But that recovery is can result in a personal liability.
Chief, if I pull up to a stoplight and my car catches fire, is it assumed that it was my responsibility because I had bad maintenance on my vehicle? I mean, how do you decide what was negligence on my part?
What will happen on our part, Councilman Thompson, is that third-party company that we contract with to recover these costs, if you have insurance on that vehicle, right, then that third party will reach out to that insurance and try to recover costs that your insurer has already set aside for emergency response to that car fire.
All right. All right.
Move to approve?
The question before we vote. On the hazardous materials, how hard do you think that's going to be to collect?
Oh, that's already in existence. We've already.
Is that the part you recommended, Rick?
No.
That you heard about? Okay, I'm sorry.
The existing language.
Okay.
The language that exists already in the ordinance allows us to recover costs for hazardous materials. This new language brings in the motor vehicle accidents, motor vehicle fires, and also the illegal burning.
Mark's question made me think of something because on I-40 just the other day in Del City, there was a car that caught on fire. And it created quite a bit of damage to the actual road. It melted part of the road. If that ever happens here, do we charge the insurance company at fault for the road repair? I mean, is that something that
would be
we
something that would.
Paul? Well, you might look into that. If ever there's damage to the road that requires the city to fix it, is that something we can recover? It's property damage to our property.
Okay.
Certainly, too, just to add to that point, as electric vehicles become more commonplace than they are. No, I understand. But understand, like, what we're operating under national guidance right now is that it is safer to let those burn than it is to put them out. So that would cause considerable more damage to the roadway.
So if my car catches on fire, it's going to be a total every time.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Say goodbye to that car.
Not because it's your vehicle, but because
because
it is an electric vehicle.
All right, do we have a motion?
Move to approve.
We do have a motion. We have a second? Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? There being none. Now we have new business public discussion, and there's only one person that signed up. That's Glenn.
Glenn Goldschlager, 1409 Evergreen Circle, Midwest City. I hope you all noticed that almost every city in central Oklahoma is on water rationing except for us.
Right.
Go Midwest City Water Department.
Exactly.
Chief, every single homeowner's policy has money to pay the fire department when there's a fire. For 20 years, I've been trying to collect that money. We're throwing money away. It's in the insurance it's in the homeowners and policy, just the way it is in your car insurance. Why are we not collecting it? Now, we don't want to charge people to put out fires, but if the money is there, why are we not collecting it? And how much have we lost in the last 20 years because of it? Flock cameras. Somebody came here last week complaining about flock cameras. Now, I am a fiscal conservative. I believe we need to save money. We have 103 police officers in Midwest City, divided over 365 days a year. There's not that many on duty from time to time, and cameras are simply nothing more than a way to give our officers more eyes, to look at more things around Midwest City. That's all it is. It's just making them more efficient and effective in doing their job. You're worrying about somebody getting into your personal stuff? This phone keeps track of you more than those darn cameras do. And your television set sends information to the manufacturer on everything you watch, how long you watched it, and when you watched it. But you're worrying about a couple of cameras? I'd much rather live in a safe community. In fact, I want more cameras. I want so many cameras that you can't walk anywhere in Midwest City without seeing a camera. I want that person in that 800 square foot house in the original square mile to be as safe in their house as the richest person in the richest community in Midwest City. And if it takes cameras putting everywhere, I'm all for it.
Oh, my God.
Thank you. Just my point of view.
Thank you, Glenn. All right, the next item on the agenda is an executive session, but let's recess and do that last so we can get everybody else out of here. So apparently I need a motion and a second to recess, and then a motion. And do we have a second?
Second.
All those in
Third.
favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? None? All right, let's go on to the other agendas. All right, municipal authority agenda. I call the municipal authority to session. The first item on the agenda is a consent agenda. We have a motion. We have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? There being none, there's no discussion items. Is there any new business or public discussion from the municipal authority? There being none, I need a motion to adjourn. Okay,
I was gonna say, I just told Don, look what you caused, Don.
really?
Just us to remind.
Hospital authority agenda. First item on the agenda is the consent agenda. We have a motion.
Second.
We have a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? There being none, we do have a discussion item. D1, what?
No action needed on D1.
No action needed. D2, discussion, consideration, and possible action approving professional services contract with ADG Blatt We've already discussed this on the city side. This is for the recreation and aquatics facility for the $2.7 million.
Which will come through the hospital authority.
Motion, comes through the hospital authority. Motion, and we have a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? There being none. Jeez. All right. New business public discussion for the for the hospital authority. There being none, I'm adjourning that. I call to order the Economic Development Authority. First item is the consent agenda. We have motion, we have a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And there's no discussion items, no public discussion. That is adjourned. Now, the Utilities Authority, I'm call that to order. Consent agenda. Motion, second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? There being none. Public discussion. There being none, I adjourn that. And now we need to go back to the city council meeting, and there's a split opinion. Do we have to vote on it or not? Motion, second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? There being none. Now we have our executive session item. Yep. We have a motion, we have a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?